Let's move now to a Red Cross shelter in Charlotte, North Carolina, where Senator Thom Tillis is standing by. Senator, what are you seeing on the ground in your state? Did people obey evacuation orders, and are they finding shelter?
Well, they are finding shelter. I want to thank the Red Cross for the work they're doing here and across the state. But there were some people who made the dangerous decision to not heed the evacuation notices. Down in New Bern, a number of the people who had to be rescued over the past 24, 36 hours were largely people who decided to stay in an area that was judged unsafe. We're going to have more evacuation notices as the rivers rise and after they overflow their banks. You need to heed the warnings, get out of harm's way.
What can you tell us about problems with looters?
Well, we've had one report down in Wilmington. I don't think that it's widespread, and law enforcement takes it very seriously. In that particular report, I think the store manager chose not to have law enforcement intervene. For the most part, I think that people have really been focused on keeping themselves safe and obeying the law and order that we need as we go through the recovery.
How much damage? Obviously, it's just a guesstimate at this point, but how much damage will this do to your state? Are we talking billions of dollars? And how long before life in North Carolina gets back to anything close to normal?
Well, Chris, to give you a comparison, Matthew hit about 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago. We're still recovering from Hurricane Matthew. I think that this storm is likely going to produce impacts greater than Hurricane Matthew. The agriculture industry, the largest industry in our state, is hard hit. We're going to have to sort out the crop damage, the floods that are going to come, as you mentioned with the FEMA director. The floods that come midweek are likely to be as damaging or more damaging than the original event. So we've got to sort all that out. I think that it's fair to say, in terms of economic impact, rebuilding, that we are talking in the billions of dollars.
And how long before life in North Carolina gets back to normal?
Well, it's very difficult to say. With the rivers and with the statewide impact, I mean, I'm in Charlotte right now. We're beginning to get the rain bands that have been taking days to get here. Then it's going to move up into the mountains. Those are all going to fill river basins that are going to flow down to North Carolina and to South Carolina or out to our coast. And it's very difficult to really understand what's ahead. But I did a flyover about 36 hours after Matthew hit the eastern part of the state, and we thought it was bad then. And 2 days later, we saw damage that was far surpassed what the initial impact of that Category 1 storm. So people need to take it seriously. The fact that it's a tropical depression means that it's a very serious weather and rain event. So listen to local authorities, find access to help. And I was going to mention also, FEMA has an app that you can get on an Android or iPhone that'll give you access to resources. You may be able to volunteer in your community, help other people know what the resources are that are out there at the state, local, and federal level to help us as we go through this disaster.
And finally, Senator, I got about a minute left, and you took me just where I want to go. What have you thought of the response from government at all levels, federal, state, local? Were they as prepared as they could be for a terrible storm like this?
Well, I think so, because with the way the storm was tracking, you know, there are some people that would say position here, position there. I think they positioned in a central location that got them out there as quickly as they could. The governor's doing a great job. I agree with the FEMA director. Mike Sprayberry is one of the best at what he does for disaster management. They're coming together. We've had, sadly, experience with this before. I'm proud of what they've done. I'm sure we'll do an after action and see things we can do better. But I think North Carolina does it about as well as anybody in the country.
Unfortunately, you have too much experience with it. Senator Tillis, thank you. Thanks for your time. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those caught in this storm, sir.
Thank you, Chris.